I'm upset. No disrespect, respectfully. But disrespectfully, it's disrespect. Don't be disrespectful. Those vile, disgusting Spartans. Poor little bro, them. And I'm gonna tell him where I'm at. That vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus. The other state. And of course, as always, I'm upset.
Maize and Blue Nation, it's Tom Brady. I co-founded Autograph with one mission in mind: change the fan experience for the better. That's why I'm excited to announce the release of a new app that recognizes the biggest Michigan fans. The Autograph Fandom app gives you access to the best Michigan content, fan challenges, and exclusive rewards for diehard Wolverines, all for doing the things you already do, like listening to this podcast. Head over to the Apple App Store and search for Autograph Rewarding Fans and download today.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
On the best there is. Woo! 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 Woo!
We're back. And Michigan plays in the national championship tonight against Washington. The Washington Huskies, led by Heisman runner-up Michael Penix Jr., former Indiana quarterback. People are saying he's special. These are words that have been used. Special. He has the it factor. That was said by our very own Jim Harbaugh, who also said JJ had the it factor. So to be fair, but he has the it factor. He's got a Dunze and that trio of wide receivers. By the way, fun fact, Giles Jackson, guys, Michigan fans remember that guy, former Wolverine. This is his last game either way for Washington and in his collegiate career. The last time Michigan played Washington was at the Big House. He had some things to say while walking off. We'll make sure he remembers those words tonight. Trust me, if he sees the field. But, that's neither here nor there. But, yeah, Michigan has a lot to be excited about. Is this the swan song for Jim Harbaugh in terms of college football and his coaching tenure at Michigan? All these questions. A lot of them will be answered. Can he win the big one? I feel like we've gotten enough data on if he can win the big one or not. Last week winning the Rose Bowl, which brings me to this. The giveaway tonight, we'll be doing a giveaway. I'm going to give away one of these guys. I'm not sure if you can see that, but that's an official Rose Bowl coin. I will be giving away one of those. Let me pull that out there. Try to focus it. And then on the backside, from Michigan's Rose Bowl victory over the Alabama Crimson Tide, to the person who predicts the score or is closest to it. And I'm sure that some people will predict the score, have the same score. So we'll work out some metric to, as a tiebreaker, or maybe we'll just have to randomly select somebody. Either way, we'll do that transparently, so it's no funny business. But yeah, we're giving away a commemorative coin. It won't be this one, by the way, just so people know. This is mine, but I will be sending one of these to the lucky winner of tonight's prediction giveaway, I suppose. So we'll do that tonight. Also, I'm going to put the link in the comments here. Anybody is welcome to jump up and join the box. I do expect some people to join the box, whether it be Ryan or some hater. I'm sure some hater will be joining us tonight at some point, but don't be shy yourselves. Anybody is welcome, right? This is a pregame extravaganza. You saw the title there. I gotta say, I'm excited. My household has very strict instructions, by the way, not to bother me tonight. I don't want to hear anything from anybody tonight, at least until this game is over. Don't call my name. Don't do anything. Just get the pizza or whatever it is we're having and don't say a word because we need silence unless it is me screaming in excitement. That is it. It's all the noise we should have in this house tonight. But anyway, let me say hi to a couple people. My guy Antoine is here, of course. Shout out to Antoine. Shout out to Danny Barrett. Let's fucking go. Absolutely. Ken, my guy Ken, loyal. Ken, appreciate it. Joe Torres, another loyal subscriber. Juan Trotter, what's up? Go Blue. Everybody's excited for this one. I know it. CJ and DJ. CJ to DJ and Pops, my bad. Go Blue, Natty coming back home for sure. Got to bring that Natty back to A2. 47-10. We got our first prediction here. Danny says 47-10 Michigan. Man, I would love it if that was the score. I know America would hate it. By the way, speaking of America, ESPN has to be the biggest bunch of haters on planet Earth. Apparently, like 33 ESPN pundits picked Washington. Are they crazy? They're crazy, right? They didn't see Washington struggle with Arizona State 15-7. They didn't see Washington damn near give up the church's money to Texas last week. It's disrespectful, but it's okay. Continue to disrespect Michigan. You'll pay for it in the end. We'll get to all of that. Let's talk about first how we got here, right? It's been a long road back to the national championship for Michigan. I'm not going to give you all the history from 97, 98 on. We're not going to do that. Although 98, they returned a bunch of that talent from the 97 national championship team. Of course, they shared that national championship with Nebraska that year. However, they were missing people like Greasy and Woodson, of course. Those guys have moved on to the NFL. But 98, game one, heartbreaker is Donovan McNabb, pretty much beats Michigan by himself, 38-28 in the big house. We all, if you're over a certain age, remember that. Of course, that would propel Donovan McNabb to like the second overall pick in the draft the next year, all of that. But that's not important. Let's fast forward a bunch of years. We're going to fast forward a bunch of years. Michigan, of course, let's start around 2003. I believe that was 2003. Chris Perry and those guys beat Ohio State in the big house. I believe that was the last time for a long time. Am I right? Let me know in the comment section. Am I getting my years mixed up here? 2003. Joe Torres says 38-24. Shout out to Joe. We'll lock that one in for you. 38-24. M3 FESPN. Absolutely. Those jokers over there at ESPN never get it right. Not one comment or update about Ohio State being placed under NCAA investigation. It's all Herb Street facts. Hey, M3, go Blue. Shout out the New Life. Go Blue. For those who just getting in here, be sure to like, of course, and share this with your social medias if you have them. Let's get some more people in. For those who've missed it, though, we're going to be doing a giveaway, commemorative coin from the Rose Bowl, Michigan's Rose Bowl victory over Alabama last week. For those who didn't get to see, it won't be this one. Trust me, this one's mine. But I will be sending one of those to the winner, the person who predicts the score the closest or exactly will be getting one of these coins. It's going to come in, of course, a box like this, but won't be this one, and because this one's mine. But either way, I'll be sending that out to whoever wins. But yeah, I also have the link in the comments if anyone wants to jump up. Let's talk about it. But very excited for tonight, man. Tell me, guys, where are you watching the game tonight? What's the setup? Does the family have instructions to leave you be tonight? What's going on? New Life, 35-21. Locking that in. That sounds like I like that score right there. That sounds close to what I'd be picking, 35-21. I like that. I think you're right. Yeah, it's the blank name. I think, right, 2003, I think it was the last time they won for a long time against the other state. Finally, let's jump ahead again. Of course, 2007, the upset heard around the world. I don't want to talk about it, but we know what happened. We lost. We start the season 0-2 in a season where we were a BCS national championship favorite to begin the season. We know what happened. Whatever. We end up losing 3 games because Ohio State also beat us at the end of that season. That season, by the way, was all jacked up. We know it was a lot of upsets in that one. Michigan actually beat Urban Meyer in Florida in the bowl game there, though, that season. Michigan's only win over Urban Meyer. Shout out to Bryce Sack, who pointed that out on Scarlet and Blue. By the way, check them out. Be sure to check them out over there. But yeah, Michigan's only win over Urban Meyer came in that bowl game against Florida, but that's not important. Let's fast forward some more because now we are into the Rich Rodriguez era, the Brady Hoke era. So that 2008 to 2014, a bunch of non-Michigan type seasons in there. Let's just say that. A bunch of non-Michigan type seasons. And we know what happens, right? Rich Rod gets fired during the Rich Rod era. What is the positive that came from that? I don't know. Maybe recruiting shoelace. That's the positive from Rich Rod. And then, of course, in the Brady Hoke era, who had some decent recruiting classes in his time, but he also did a lot of losing to the other state, which we cannot condone. But he recruited Rashawn Gary. He also recruited Jabril Peppers. We got to give him credit for that. But either way, let's move on from that. December 2014, am I right? We get the news we're going to be getting former Michigan quarterback and former San Diego head coach, former Stanford head coach, former San Francisco 49er head coach, winner at all of those stops, by the way. Jim Harbaugh will be returning to A2 to coach the Wolverines. Everybody's happy. Everybody's ecstatic. Boom, boom, boom. Bob's your uncle. Everybody's happy. All right. First year, of course, out the gate, we lose to Utah, but, you know, it's Jim's first year. Nobody's holding it against him. Boom. That's a wasted season. I won't say wasted, but you know what happened. The next year, 15 or 16. Either way, if it's 16, let's just go to 16. 16, we have the JT was short game that could have really changed the fortunes of Michigan at that time because Jim would have beaten Urban Meyer, which he did in regulation because he was short, but whatevs. And, you know, we know what happens from there. The next year, Michigan also has a chance. I think that's O'Korn gets the ball with a chance to win it, but throws on 1st and 10, by the way. 1st and 10, throws it, a duck down the middle of the field, interception. We lose that game. And then 18 and 19, let's not talk about because that was bad. And I still hate Shea Patterson. I know I might be a minority in that, but Shea Patterson was vastly overrated, as was proved in his short-lived tenure, the #1 overall draft pick in the USFL or the UFL, whatever it was. He was trash there too. And so I feel vindicated in my strong dislike of Shea Patterson. Let me call it that. And then, of course, we move past that. 2020 comes around. We got the next Cam Newton, according to I think Joe Klatt said that. Next Cam Newton and Joe Milton. Of course, that was not the case. 2020 ends 2-4. A lot of people calling for Jim's job at this time. A lot of people, the rumblings had started in the year before, maybe the 2 years before, but at this time, it's at high levels. We got to get a new coach level, but Jim stays the course. He takes a pay cut. They force a pay cut on him. He gets a contract that is full of incentives. So in 2021, he meets all of those incentives, I'm sure. And he gives back to the athletic department, right? We beat the other state, of course, in 21, which starts the first in a string of 3 straight. And we are where we are now, right? We lost a couple college football playoff games. Then we won one last week, and now we're in the championship game. Let me go back and make sure I'm not missing anybody's scores. Of course, I'll go back through this after it's all over. Thump Lucas says 45-23, go blue. Shout out to Thump Lucas. Greg Jackson, 42-20. Not a bad score either. I like this one. 82 Kings, 35-21. So 82 Kings and someone else, I believe, have a similar score, 35-21. I like this one a lot. This one would be close to what I would say. 35-17 for my guy, Detroit. Detroit, what up? What up, though? So yeah, so all that to say, we are where we are here. I got your score, Detroit. Shout out to you. But yeah, him, Kate McNamara, trash, absolutely. Kate McNamara. Now I gotta be careful because I did call Kate McNamara, and I stand by this. I feel this way. Kate McNamara is the most important player, not just quarterback, player in the resurgence of Michigan since 2020, 2021. All right. Because Kate McNamara got in there after the next Cam Newton and kind of righted the ship against Rutgers, got that win. Granted, we only won 2 games that year, so Rutgers happened to be one of them. And Kate McNamara the very next year, of course, was that steady kind of guy we needed to get us over the other state hump. So I got to give him credit for that. Now, since that time, Kate McNamara has proved to be a POS, but during that time, he was the most important player in recent, and by recent, I mean last 20 years, Michigan history. He's the most important player. I stand by that. Important Harbaugh, again, the voice for student athletes to share the profits, the sole reason for all this BS this year. I agree with that 1000%, Dom. Harbaugh used this platform in the national championship to talk about profit sharing for the student athletes, not just football players either, for all the student athletes. And that's massive. And the NCAA does not like him for that. And they are making their presence known with all these allegations and things like that. So absolutely a great point. He was important, but turned out to be a little sour upon leaving. Facts, Joe. Cade did his job. He was a stabilizer for us. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. I hope his downfall next year. Facts. Yeah. Nah, he was being a douche in 21. Just wasn't made public. That's a fact. He was treating JJ unfairly. He didn't take him under his wing. He was afraid for his job, but that's small, I was about to say it, but that's little energy. Let's just say that. Little energy. Problem with McNamara is that he never realized that when you play at Michigan, you're part of something bigger than yourself. Facts. That is an absolute fact. But let's get into it. We are here today, gathered here today after winning the Big Ten 3 years in a row, the 3-time Big Ten champion. By the way, the only school, the only university to win the Big Ten championship 3 times in a row since it has been a championship game. Nobody has done that except for Jim Harbaugh in Michigan. 3-time winners, 3 straight wins over the other state. We all know that. Jim Harbaugh has flipped his record against it. Well, it's not completely flipped, but he's done a great job against top 10 teams now over the last 3 years. I believe 6-3 is his record against top 10 teams. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that is correct. 6-3 over the last 3 years. 2 of those losses coming in the college football playoff, and of course, the 5-touchdown day by Kenneth, the guy from poor little bro Nim. He went off on us. I got to give him credit for that. But those are the 3 losses. And now we play for the chip. Let's talk about it. A lot of the matchups are going that people are talking about. Of course, Will Johnson versus Rome Odunze. It's a big one. Our defensive line versus their offensive line. They won the Joe Moore Award for the best offensive line this season. So they replaced Michigan, who had won it the previous 2 seasons. They did a good job of keeping Penix upright last week as well. They have a decent offensive line. I think they can that could cause some problems for Michigan if they can't get pass rush without committing too many to it, because you do have to protect the backside. But that being said, don't think they've seen a secondary like Michigan's. We have great coverage in the slot with Mike Sanders still. Josh Wallace was actually rated higher than Will Johnson this season, according to PFF. Now, granted, Will Johnson missed a lot of games this season and was not really 100% until the Rose Bowl, if I'm being honest, and maybe not even fully 100% then. But he did a great job following Marvin Harrison around, even though Marvin caught balls. He also got an interception off of Marvin. So until, of course, he had to leave the game. So Will Johnson has allowed 0 touchdowns this year, even with, being injured for most of the season. So I think our secondary will be okay. Do you think, here's a question, does Odunze break Will Johnson's streak this year of catching or of holding receivers to 0 touchdowns? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Let's talk about that. Let's move on. Of course, the other matchup everyone is talking about is JJ versus, Michigan's run game versus that porous Washington run defense. They are not great at run defense, and it showed even last week. But what do you think? I see Detroit saying no. Dunze doesn't do it. Washington has injuries at wideout. They have injuries at running back too. They're starting running back. I don't know if he'll be playing this week. Love your channel, by the way. Shout out to you, Greg. Appreciate it. I'm taking everything but wide receivers. Washington, absolutely. I think Michigan has an edge everywhere. I think you can argue quarterback and wide receiver for Washington. Other than that, and obviously they won the Joe Moore Award, so it's arguable at least at offensive line too. Blake is going to eat tonight. I agree with this statement here. Blake, I expect a big game from Blake Corum tonight. Speaking of running backs for Michigan, I think Donovan Edwards, who hasn't had a great season this year by any stretch, he was asked about his struggles this week by a member of the media. He had a great answer for it. I got a lot of respect for Donovan Edwards. He hasn't, been a problem in the locker room, even though he hasn't produced the way that we thought he would produce, and now I'm sure that he thought he would produce this season, but he's still been a team player, so I got to big him up for that. And hopefully he returns next year, because I do think he is I said coming into this season, I think he's the most talented running back on Michigan's roster, and that just includes everything. He has struggled, and that's even catching the ball, which is usually a bright spot for him. But I think next year could really be a breakout season for him. Bottom line, coaching. I agree with this, Dom, and Michigan checks those boxes. I think better head coach, better defensive coordinator. We can argue offensive coordinator, but I think really DeBoer is the offensive coordinator. So give me Sharon Moore over Washington's offensive coordinator outside of DeBoer. So I think, so there's that. Of course, don't forget, there is a giveaway for this thing here, which is the commemorative coin for the Rose Bowl, from the Rose Bowl, Michigan's Rose Bowl win over Alabama. If you can get in there, I want to be able to focus in there. But yeah, so you'll get this, not this one. This one's mine, but I will be sending you one if you predict the score of the game or come closest to the score of the game. If there's a tie, of course, we'll have some sort of tiebreaker, maybe a random drawing that we'll do live so everybody can see, and it's very transparent. So let me know what you guys think is going to be the biggest mismatch in the game. I think it's obvious Michigan's run game against their run defense. But what are you predicting? How many rushing yards are you predicting, if it is that, for Michigan on the ground tonight? I hope Donovan goes off tonight. That'd be great. That would be excellent, actually. Yes, they got the Joe Moore Award, but are they nationally good or just Pat good? It's a decent question. It's a good question. I think they showed that they were at least some good last week. They handled the pass rush from Texas. Those defensive tackles coming into that game, a lot of people thought that Texas's defensive tackles would wreck that game. They did not. So I got to give them some credit. Now, granted, the Big 12 isn't exactly known for their defense either, but they did have some good defensive tackles this year. Texas did anyway. Everyone's saying Michigan hasn't played an offense like this. True, but they haven't faced a D like ours. Also true. That is a fact. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I think Michigan has the guys, though, in that secondary. Makari Page, Keon Sabb, Rod Moore, Josh Wallace, as I said, who's been excellent. I know I gave him some grief early on in the season, but he's really been very solid, a very solid CB2. Of course, you got Will Johnson and Mike Sanders still. The secondary for Michigan is kind of stacked. So I don't see them giving up a bunch of big plays. Will Washington make plays? Will Penix make plays? I expect them to make some plays. I'm going to be honest with you, but I don't think it'll be something that Michigan can't handle. If you're in here, be sure to hit the like button, share this. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, don't be afraid to pop up. I'm going to put a new link in the comment section. If you want to join, feel free. My guy Greg Jackson says 280 yards rushing. That would be incredible, but I can see it happening. This, like I said, this defense, run defense anyway, isn't that great. They got some talent in the secondary, but they're not Michigan secondary either. So I can see 280, maybe pushing 300 yards tonight. We know what happened the last time Michigan faced Washington. I think we had two rushers over 100 yards, right? Hassan Haskins and Blake Corum. Blake rushed for like 170 in that game, something crazy. Michigan averages 159.5 a game. They accomplished that number against three of the top 5 defenses in the nation: O State, Penn State, and Iowa. Fact. And I don't expect Washington to be better than any of those defenses. So shout out to that. We got somebody up. What's going on? Go Blue.
Go Blue. I think they get it done tonight.
Absolutely, man. I think they get it done too. What's your score prediction?
I'm the 34-17.
34-17. I can dig it. What do you think they do on the ground tonight?
Well, I think Blake Corum gets about 100 yards tonight on the rushing.
Absolutely. I think Blake Corum goes over 100 tonight, maybe 2 more rushing touchdowns. He really puts that record kind of out of touch for a while. Be a while before somebody breaks that record. What you think about that?
I think it's crazy.
Yeah, man. 2 more rushing touchdowns will really put that record out of touch for a long time, in my opinion. Although there is a lot of talented running backs coming in next year, and we have some guys on the roster, but I think it'll be a while before somebody sees that.
I actually thought Donovan Edwards was going to have a huge season, like you said.
Yeah. I think a lot of people did. I think most people did. I don't know what happened, man. Like early on, I will acquiesce. Early on, the run blocking wasn't great in the season. We didn't start that great. Even Blake, the average per carry was low, but Donovan never seemed to get his footing this year, and that's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, and also the Donovan Edwards just plays like I was thinking he would just play good in like the huge games because that's what he does.
Yeah. You're right. I expected him to be bigger in bigger games. I think he scored a touchdown. Did he score a touchdown against Ohio State? I think he did. Or maybe that was Penn State. He scored a touchdown against Penn State. Yeah. Ohio State was close to Washington's offense. I agree with this on paper. They were supposed to be, right? In terms of the talent, I agree with this. In fact, talent-wise, they may have been even better other than the quarterback, because the Honda McCord is not Michael Penix. But Odunze to Marvin Harrison, give me Marvin Harrison, although Odunze might have had better stats this year, but Marvin Harrison's a better talent. Ibuka is a better number 2 talent-wise, again, But yeah, what do you think about this?
I mean, you got to just speak. Marvin Harrison is probably the best wide receiver in college football, even though
Right.
not
Yeah.
like the other state.
Facts. Facts. I agree with that. I felt Donovan to an extent took a backseat to Blake this year. Yeah, that's fair. I think after a couple games when it was kind of like apparent that Donovan wasn't playing well, Michigan did lean more so on Blake for the rest of the season. And that's just how it played out. Blake has the seniority. Blake was, going for some school records. So it all
I,
played out. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you gonna say?
I said I agree.
Yeah, man. Let's see what Mike says. Penix will be known as Panics after tonight. I like it. Michael Panics Jr. Absolutely. We ain't got time to waste. Carries on Donovan. If you don't have it early, I want Mullins to carry the rock. Yo, Fat Mullins has been great this season. He's been real good. So shout out to him.
Other than the TCU fumble on the one.
Yeah. Disgusted. I'm so disgusted with that TCU. We should have beat that team last year.
Oh, we destroyed them.
Absolutely. Blake will get MVP. I can see this happening. What I want, and I know it's probably not even right to want this. I just want I want Michigan to win, first of all. Let's do that. But I think JJ to pass the ball and get 2-3 touchdowns. I think 3 touchdowns. I think that's going to happen. And I think he goes over 250 tonight. And if that happens, even if Blake goes over 100, 2 touchdowns like I'm predicting, I think JJ gets it. If JJ goes 253 or more touchdowns, he's going to be the MVP. And I think, he should be. That'll be deserving. Also, I got to pay attention to the tea leaves because Michigan's quarterback coach, Kirk Campbell, gave away something where he said, watch the best player in college football tonight with a picture of JJ. So I think that they are looking to do some things in the pass game, but we'll see what happens.
Do you think JJ will stay after this year?
I hope he does. I'll say that. I think it depends on a lot of things. I think it depends on Jim Harbaugh, obviously, and I do think that Jim's leaving. I know I was pretty optimistic that Jim would be staying, but I think Jim's going to leave. And if Jim leaves and goes to a place like Las Vegas, for instance, who will be picking later in the first round, and he can get JJ, then maybe JJ goes. I think that has a lot to do with like where he's predicted to go in the first round. Because if you're predicted to go like top 10, top 12, then it's going to be hard to say no to that. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I also think Jim's going to leave after this year. I don't want to say I think he does.
Yeah, I think it's starting to look more and more like that. But we'll have to wait. DK says 21-17 Michigan. We'll lock that one in. Hopefully, I mean, that'll be a great game. Don't get me wrong. But I don't want necessarily a great game. I want Michigan to win this thing, get out of there unscathed, blow this team out the water, really show some dominance. JJ gonna throw over 250. Roman for MVP. It's a good pick. Roman could win the MVP. I could see that happening too. Want to see some turnover buff celebrations? Facts. If Will Johnson can get an interception in this game while guarding Roma Duze, forget about it. I think
Mikey Santrell gets an interception early.
I like it. Antoine, I love Donovan, but I agree, no plays to waste. Maybe they can involve Donovan in the pass game. Yeah, man. They tried to involve him in the pass game in the Rose Bowl. He dropped that. It was like a big third down, too. And he dropped that pass. Now, granted, it was short, and it looked like he was going to be tackled short of the first down, even if he caught it. But still, it's just like not like him to have those kind of passes go through his hands. I don't know. I just need JJ to make the simple passes, stop throwing rocket shoots. He needs to put some touch on the ball, stop throwing everything so damn hard. This is a fact. All right, so and let me know, Go Blue, what you thought about this. There was a point in the game, I think it was a third down. It was another third down situation, and Michigan might have even been trailing at this point.
Yeah, I think it
In
was
the Rose Bowl, right? And he threw that rocket to Samaj, and it did go through Samaj's hands. And rule since Pop Warner as a wide receiver, if it hits your hands, you got to catch it, right? But he threw the thing like 1,000 miles an hour to a guy that was like 10 feet away from him.
And we got to think about Samaj Morgan. He's like still a true freshman,
right?
So he's still getting into the field.
Absolutely.
I know he did had a rough game, but
yeah. I mean, I thought, obviously, shout out to David McAllister, by the way. Absolutely, I'm ready. I'm 1,000% ready. And as I said, be sure to hit the like button if you're in here. Share this with your social medias. Like I said, my family has expressed instruction in this house not to bother me tonight. Is this my guy, Dom? Dom?
There you go. Can you hear me?
What's up, man? We can hear you.
I broke out the old school right there for you.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it a lot, Dom. What's going on? What are you predicting tonight?
I predict 31-13. I think the Rose Bowl and the team getting caught into that overtime game in that fourth quarter, which we were all on eggshells. Are they going to pull it out? I think that experience has been hammered home this week. We don't want to go through that again.
Right.
Let's get on them early and let's get the boa constrictor out and just squeeze them with the run game.
Absolutely. I hear that, man. And I am with that, by the way. And Michigan should jump on these guys early and get them out the way early. I expect a wide margin of victory tonight. I'm thinking at least 2 touchdowns, as you said. Some people have said like 35-21, which would be kind of in line with what I was going with. I thought it'd be more 38-24, but either way, it's a 14-point victory. What do you think about JJ tonight? What do you think he does tonight, Dom?
I think tonight's the culmination for JJ McCarthy. Not only him, Blake, the leaders of the team, having gone through what they went through last year. They have the experience. They've been there before. I mean, you look at it in comparison to the NFL. How many times have we seen 2 teams match up, but the other team's been there, done that? And that experience with the pregame and all the untypical things from the normal game day, that's where Michigan's going to have the edge. Coaching experience, as I said earlier, as well as the game prep and handling an extended halftime, which is going to be to the benefit of Michigan making adjustments. That's why I'm saying 31-13.
Absolutely, man. That is I love that analysis, by the way. That's really good. What do you think happens in that matchup with Will Johnson, Rome Odunze?
I think Will Johnson's going to get some help.
Okay.
I say that because I saw earlier today that a couple of the peripheral, is that what I want to say? Peripheral wide receivers have some nagging injuries. Question the effectiveness, and if it's lower extremity problems and they're not able to get off and run the routes at the typical speed that they're accustomed to, that's going to free somebody else out to help Will Johnson, who really didn't need any help against Marvin Harrison. So I think we're going to be okay. And the best offense for us tonight is going to be keeping Penix on the sideline. Possibly a mistake, M3, and get him in his head a little bit would help as well.
Absolutely. Go Blue. Same question to you. What do you think goes on with Rome Odunze and Will tonight?
Oh, I think Will Johnson will lock him up, but he could get a touchdown. I can see maybe a small touchdown.
Okay. No doubt. Guys, we are an hour away from kickoff. I didn't plan to be on here long. I do appreciate everybody who came through tonight. Be sure if you haven't dropped your score predictions, drop them because you will be receiving one of these if you get the score right or come closest. My guy Dom, finally seeing your face here, participating in the live. I appreciate it. We're gonna try to do this, by the way, once a week, where I do open. It's gonna be open mic for Michigan fans. So shout out to that. McAllister, let's go. Greg Jackson. I don't know if that's for us, but it's the same thing with that kicker we had. Strong lead dude used to try to kick ball out of stadium when it was only a 1-point conversion. Absolutely. JJ does need to work on some touch. Dom, I'm sorry, you got something?
Yes, I just want to say thank you very much, M3, for all the hard work this year, the videos, the content, the recruiting content, the high school footage. I sit there many times. I'm like, where do you get the footage? And how do you get
It's
the
not that
time
hard,
to do
man.
all the editing? And please pass along a huge, huge thank you to Mrs. M3 for her patience and tolerance. And go blue, brother. Go blue.
Absolutely. Go blue, man. Go blue to you too. Go blue. Go blue. Everybody in the comment section, go blue. Go ahead.
Thank you. Before you leave, thank you for all the recruiting stuff, because I've actually been looking at the recruiting a lot more this year. And do you want the ball first, or do you want to be on defense first?
On defense first. I think Harbaugh's, every time he's won the coin toss, he goes on defense first. We defer to the second half. I think that's the way to go. Before we get out of here, Buckeye Garrison has some things to say.
My guy. Hey,
What's up, man?
This is as close as I can get.
A hater is gonna hate, man.
Nah, well,
shout out to you, smart lady here.
Don't tell her that. Listen, man. Hey, listen. I'm gonna tell you exactly what I told Bryce. All right.
Right.
Now, I do have you guys winning, like I told you, 33-24. Does that mean I'm cheering for you? No, but I will root for your guys' happiness.
Are you trying to win this commemorative coin? This Rose Bowl coin? Let me
listen.
Giveaway 33-24. Is that what you?
Listen. If I win that, that's going straight to Bryce.
Shout out that I can appreciate that. Shout out.
Bryce is at the game right now with his dad.
Yeah. He's having a much better evening than all of us. But absolutely,
so I'm looking at Jim's delusional dad talk.
Don't talk about Mr.
I'm sorry, Jack.
Like
I'm sorry, Jack.
Right.
How you feeling though, man? How you feeling about the game?
I'm feeling great.
Level?
I'm feeling great. No anxiety. I will say last week I had some anxiety. I especially down 20-13, 4th and 2. There was a bit of anxiety there, right?
Yeah.
But my coach knew what to do in that situation. My offensive coordinator, my head coach, going for it. You got me going over time here because I was getting off. I had my guy Dom on here, who's a much better guest than you, by the way. But I'm joking. Shout out to you, man. I appreciate you every time.
No, well, I'm happy for you staying a little bit longer for me to say. I was like, oh crap, I didn't see the notification on my phone.
Look at this guy. Hey. What time do the Michigan fans' tears start rolling?
Hey, man, good luck. Hey, good luck to your team, bro. And wait a second. Where's the state part? There we go.
Nah, man.
Go Washington.
Get out of here, bro. Anyway, right, I'll check you guys out. There'll be a post game, I'm sure. All right.
See you, bud.
Everybody, get your predictions in if you haven't already. I will be checking them. And until next time, stay angry, my friends. I'm up.